Hi all, welcome to the belated Marquee Matchup predictions for the 6th of December. Apologies for this being up a few days later than usual. Just been really bogged down with getting content out on the channel. But I know Marquee Matchups haven't been proven as popular, but hopefully you still enjoy this as always. Smash the likes as always, sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at TheLegend. All the links are down below for playlists on the channel and social media links as always. So plenty to cover in terms of teams. And remember to check out everyone in the Predictions League, would be much appreciated. So, EPL play this week, midweek, and looking at it, you could have Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, as a couple options. And you could also factor in other Wednesday night games as well. So, keep those in consideration. Like, for me personally, I don't think an EPL game may happen this weekend. I think they may decide to go a different option, but Thursday night, you never know. EPL they always seem to be very popular with EPL, as long as you're covered with the league as a whole, and then a mix of, like, say, the big 6 teams. You're generally going to be well and truly covered. Now, Switzerland features again, and this week I do fancy it. I'm giving it a 7 because I fancy, like, it can't be coincidence that last week you had 2 strong games from Switzerland to feature, and this week it just so happens to be again. So I'm partly thinking we're going to get Basel versus Zurich. So obviously there won't necessarily be hype in it. It's more a case of you'll just maybe need a couple of players from the Swiss league. You may need a couple of Swiss players, but as always we like to just suggest cover a Basel and Zurich player in your team, mixes the Swiss league, and then a mix of nations, a few rares, and as long as you've got like a 70 rated squad, that's the way I always like to look at it. They're not obviously going to do exactly gold because it's going to be expensive. I imagine it will just be at most a premium gold player, a premium gold pack at the very highest. But packs have improved. Our first week was over 100k last week, so in this week's run-ins. So on to the Bundesliga, we've got Schalke Dortmund. This is the Revier derby, one of the biggest games in, like, the German derby ladder, and definitely strongly fancy it. Strong 7 out of 10. I do feel Bundesliga will get its attention this week. Nothing else really standing out from the Bundesliga, but as always, with, like, these type of games, you want to at least cover one Schalke, one Dortmund, and then from there it's a case of just mixing the Germans, a mix of rares. And as long as, I always feel, as long as you've got a 78 rated squad, I know it's going to probably be exactly gold, but as long as you're at least covered between exactly gold to 78 rated, I would assume you have a chance. Then over to Italy, where we have Juventus versus Inter, and I would say quite heavily, quite fancy this, but it all comes down to wherever they opt to go elsewhere. Like, Juventus Inter is kind of like a big clash for both, but I know that it's like, as much as I'm giving it a 7 out of 10, they may go elsewhere. We know what people are like when it comes to the leagues, as it were. But as long as I've got 5 rares, that's what I feel is more than enough. You usually only need 2 or 3 nowadays, and the routes are only costing like 7-8k. So Saudi League, Al-Hilal versus Al-Nassr, Riyadh derby. This is the type of one you would assume they may just incorporate an overall, at the most, of say like 70 rated, because there is a lot of goals within the league, like Gomes, Giuliano, Otero, Carrillo. I'd imagine as long as you've got one of each, and then just build a 70 rated squad around everyone, you're going to be well and truly sorted. Like, even then you might only need one player all told between both teams, and then that's when the spends becomes really, really minimal. And then the last featured game of the week is the MLS playoff final. Literally one of the biggest games in the North American football calendar. Atlanta versus Portland Timbers. Both teams have been absolutely impressive this season. Atlanta especially, with how they have performed. I'm giving this a very strong 7 as well. So I feel Juventus Inter is my first 7 out of 10. Schalke Dortmund is my second. Basel Zurich is my third. And then I would say this MLS game between Atlanta and Portland Timbers is my fourth. In terms of my other candidates that I really quite fancy, Al-Hilal, Al-Nassr, and then I'm probably thinking EPL will be another option. In terms of other games to keep in mind to really strongly consider is Rangers versus Aberdeen, Espanyol versus Barcelona, which is a Barcelona derby, West Ham versus Crystal Palace, and Melbourne victory versus Adelaide, even though we've just had the A-League just feature last week. But hopefully you find this useful as always. And I know I should probably try to cover a lot more games, a lot more in depth, but obviously Marquee Matchups not getting the interest and demand as it is just now. But as always, remember to smash the likes and always sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at GIsALegend. Let me know in the comments below if there is any other games I may have missed that I've not mentioned or shown in the description. And I will catch you all later.